Hey everybody, I'm about to dive out of an airplane. I'll show you what I mean. Here we go. Check this out. That was definitely skydiving, jumping out of an airplane, trying to do justice to me the most hallowed ground in the world. Jimi Hendrix, Wind Cries Mary. And the thing that I take the most from Hendrix is double stops. I mean, it's just incredible the way he did them all over the neck. Here, the third above the tonic. Up here. And so that's probably the main thing about Hendrix that I use in my playing is the double stops. And then triple stops too, the chordal stuff that he did. And even down here. So the thing about Hendrix is you really have to try and not be stiff at all. You have to, and I've worked my whole life to try and get looser when I play Hendrix. David, do you have any advice for how to get started to work as a session musician? Yes, work for free. Work for anybody who's a composer so you can test your skills. I spent about 3 years doing publishing demos in the 80s, getting my skills tested. And when you're in the heat of battle with composers and songwriters, they will ask you for stuff that you would never think of. They will put you in situations that are challenging that you would have never predicted. And that's where you earn your stripes, as it were. That's where you develop the skills to think on the spot and do any kind of sound part on demand quickly. And you realize, oh, I need a different setup. Oh, I need to learn this. Oh, I didn't study bebop enough. Oh, I didn't study surf guitar enough. Oh, I need to be able, you have to do stuff instantly. So work for free. And then the talented people you work with for free, they will eventually have budgets and you'll start making money. So that is my advice. Just work with everybody you possibly can. How hard do you pick a guitar and do you vary them for different effect? Well, this is something I talk about a lot. Everything I do is based on pick velocity, and every statement I make is defined and hopefully improved by the fact that some notes are louder and some are softer. I punctuate every phrase with hard and soft picking. I'll give you an example. Generally, the opening of a phrase will be picked really hard. And then the body in the middle, I'll soften up. And then, very purposefully, I will place some notes harder than others to make it sound more important. basically. Because if you play everything with the same pick velocity, you're going to sound more like a student. But if you play things really, really feather light and then really very aggressive, kind of one after the other, makes your phrases sound really good, I think. And you sound more professional, I would say. I studied this song, so just bear with me and let me just play the solo one more time because it's so fun, and then we can talk about it. I doubt that he actually even thought about this before he did it. It's really cool because it's kind of an F6th chord up here, right? The band is going, oh, and let me kill my delays. When I talk and play, I like to kill the delays. So it's a kind of an F6. And then this beautiful, it's the same version of what he did down here. Honestly, on the record, because I've actually heard the solo track on the record, I think he's doing it way up here. Doesn't it sound more like the tone up here? I just learned it down here, and I'm more confident down here, but I think it's on the thicker strings down here. Pretty crazy. And then just kind of blues, pentatonic blues there. Then the band goes to the G chord. Pretty much the same thing you did over F. And then chordal here on the B flat. Basically B flat sus to B flat, right? And then the band moves up to C sharp. Blues there, and then back to the beautiful double stops and the chordal stuff for the end of it. With that beautiful third in the bass. And for me, it's always the neck pickup. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix was talking about this yesterday. The neck pickup, you can distort it infinitely, and it still sounds clear. I'll demonstrate. I have two gain pedals on right now. I have my boost line driver, which is the micro amp, updated. Very inexpensive pedal that I use all the time to push the front end of the amp. And then I have the Shanks ODS1. They're both on at the same time, so lots of distortion. Now check this out. I'm going to add a third pedal and play a complex chord. You can still hear all the notes. I mean, the neck pickup on a Strat, you can distort it almost infinitely, and you can still hear everything clearly. Plus, it's the tone I've loved since I was a little kid. I started hearing this tone in the 60s, and so I'm always, on my Strat when I'm soloing, it's pretty much 100% the neck pickup. Wanted to remind you guys, there is a special offer on the Masterclass, and I'll link below. Just click it, and you can check it out, and there's a 14-day free trial. See if it's something you'd be interested in. You can opt out if it's not right. We always provide that. So special offer, just click the link below and see what you think. Let's look. Played up. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, good point. He played upside down. It'd be a lot more comfortable. Mike, the Nobles was the third pedal I just turned on. The thing about the Nobles is I've always been looking for a new replacement just so that everybody could buy one. I am of the opinion that everybody in the world should have access to everything. So as the Nobles get more rare and more expensive, I believe there should be, people are developing clones. I think Wampler has something. It's a little green pedal called the Bell. I haven't tried it yet, but I've heard that gets close. But the Shanks ODS1 is amazing, and it does the same territory. So I had that one on. I added the Nobles to it. But the ODS1 is also quite pricey. So we keep looking for affordable alternatives to everything. When I grew up, You could get anything you wanted at the music store, and everybody had access to the same stuff. Now we're in an era where stuff is rare and desirable and more expensive. And so I like to find stuff that everybody can buy and use and get the tone. Everybody should have access to everything. Looking at the questions, no likes icon. Love what you do. Yeah. Page cannot be found on the link for the masterclass. Nigel, would you double check that?
Yes.
It's probably something to do with your browser. But we definitely are subject to all manner of things. So thanks for the heads up if you can't find it. Okay, we're good, right? Yeah, so try again because we just tested it and we found the page for the special offer on the masterclass. Any difference between the Nobles ODR1 and the Mini Nobles ODR1? They're both great, but they're both new reissues, and they're great. They get almost there. Almost. There's just a little bit of sweetness. God, I hate saying this too with the old ones. You know, it's just such a cliche to say that the old ones sound sweeter. So the new ones, the new little ODR1 is great, and it gets very, very... Which video, the title of that video that we featured Louis in? I talked with him for an hour at his home in Australia. It was one of the greatest moments of my life. He's featured in one of my YouTube videos. Not that you'd learn anything more about him than you would see in his, you know, there's a lot of media on him on the internet. So all of you, go check out Louis Shelton. He played some amazing, famous solos. Is there any Jimi Hendrix that does not use triads? I think so. I think he's always doing different stuff. But I don't know that that's an important thing and distinction to make. What's your opinion on Steve Lukather? I met him when I first moved here after being a fan of his and hearing him on Toto Records. Not only hearing him on Toto Records in the 70s, but on every other record, Earth, Wind & Fire records, Don Henley records. I mean, one of the most brilliant players in the world. He can play Larry Carlton stuff at the drop of a hat. I mean, he has deep versatility. He's a great piano player. He wrote Turn Your Love Around for George Benson on the piano. I mean, this is a musician. What you see with Steve is just the tip of the iceberg. He's a great singer. I mean, it's crazy, you know. And he does play very, very aggressive rock most of the time, but he can do all the other stuff. He literally can do Larry Carlton like that, you know, the Steely Dan thing. And he's an amazing R&B rhythm player. I'll stop because I'll just spend the whole episode talking about him. So, hi from Albuquerque. What's the biggest step most people miss becoming a pro musician? You actually have to own the parts you're playing. Like, if you almost get a part, you'll never get the gig. You have to actually play the part just as good as the guy who originated it. Or you have to own everything. Well, you got to bear down with your hands, and there can't be any gaps between the chords. Everything you play has to be kind of bulletproof. And you know how I do that? If I'm practicing something, I'll practice it like 100 times. Maybe 50 times, and then the next day 50 times, and then the next day 50 times, and then the next day 50 times. And then after I get to about 300 repetitions, I can play it. So, you know, you don't have to do it all at once, but if I want to nail something, I did a Grammys in front of, you know, a lot of heavy people where I had to play a Jerry Reed lick that was in a Glenn Campbell song. I practiced it 300 times. And when I was on stage and the red light went on because it was a featured lick, I literally prayed that I wouldn't make a mistake, and I didn't. Paul McCartney was in the front row watching us. Other people were there too. I practiced it 300 times. I prayed that I wouldn't make a mistake, but it was the repetition. I created enough muscle memory, which some people have disputed, but I'll say it anyway. Last time I said muscle memory, I got a comment saying that it didn't exist. I created enough muscle memory, instinctive memory in my hands and in my subconscious that my nervousness couldn't compete with it, and the muscle memory took over, and believe me, I was very nervous. How about that? So yeah, a lot of reps. Don't be afraid to do reps. Literally, I will play something. I'm working on a piece of music right now, trying to play over it, and I've played it 150 times already. So that's me. Other people are quicker. Have you ever worked with ZZ Top? No, but big fans. Big fans. I met Billy Gibbons once, and I have a Polaroid somewhere standing next to him. He is amazing. Do you have an opinion on John Mayer and his new release? He is a great guitar player. I generally like album cuts. Like when I hear a John Mayer record, there's generally some amazing R&B based album cut that's not the single. That's the one I love the most. So that's my opinion. He's crazy amazing musician and a very smart human being. What do you think of the new John Mayer song? I'll say it again. Generally, when I hear a John Mayer record, there's an R&B song somewhere in the middle that's not the single. That's the one that blows my mind. Neck radius, do you have a favorite and why? These days, I'm favoring something that this guitar actually has, which this is a very wide neck. I like hybrid. I think it's called the hybrid something radius. I've forgotten what that means, but I like modern necks. Really like modern necks. Wide, boutique guitar necks like, Sir and Anderson and Tuttle. The PRS Strat necks are more vintagey, and I don't like them as much. I love PRS humbucker style necks, but on the PRS Strats, they went a more vintage, thinner, more like the John Mayer thing. Even I've had the Fiore in my hands recently, and that's a more vintagey neck. I like wide, flatter necks. It's easier for my hands to get around on somehow. When first learning a song, do you think it's more important to learn how to play it clean and get the technical stuff down first, or get the rhythm vibe down first and clean it up? I think you have to do it all at the same time, okay? You just have to look for where you are not owning up, you look for the weak spots always. You could even film yourself on your iPhone. Look for the weak spots. It's the same thing if you were an athlete. Like if you look at professional sports or like training for the Olympics, they don't kid themselves. They're constantly evaluating their weaknesses and trying to make them better or work around them. So look at where you're weak, and I think a good way to do that is always be recording. If you're always, and because you can't lie to yourself when you listen back and you go, oh, that's not quite there. Oh, I left a little gap there. Oh, I'm rushing there. Oh, that's not quite sustaining enough. Oh, what? That sounds out of tune. And it's usually stuff that has to do with your hands. So I hope that's a good answer. Oh my, you got the blue Gretsch Penguin from Norm's that I got? That is I love that Gretsch because it feels like a vintage Les Paul. It's one of the master built ones and crazy expensive, but man, worth it. I just could not buy it. I traded a couple of guitars. I lost money. I had to have that guitar because I knew it was going to be gone in a matter of days. And even Norm, he had to wait 6 months to even get it. Luckily, I waited a day because when I see something I want and I can't live without, I go, okay, this has to be a sober decision. I want it now, and I sleep on it, and I go back the next day and hope it's there. And that way I know it's a sober decision. But even then, it was, I traded 2 guitars, gave him some money for it because I knew that if I didn't buy it, I would regret it. And I love it. After many years of playing, do you take care of your hands and avoid pain? I would do this. I talked about this yesterday too. Play up to the point of fatigue and stop. Okay, my hands started to get fatigued. Now, if I was in the middle of a performance, I would just rest it as a matter of taste. So check this out. This is a good point, and I was talking about this yesterday with some people too. I'm going to find my place, and I'm going to go in. I'm going to punch in live here on Thingy. You can literally take a rest while you're playing, and it comes off as taste. You're a tasteful guitar player when you rest your hand between phrases. So that I would do to decrease hand pain. But if I'm practicing, okay, let's say we're doing an exercise, which I never do. I'm bad at exercises. and you can really see your flaws when you try and do something like this. Ah. At the point of fatigue, I stop. I think it's like this with hand pain. Push yourself to the edge, back off. Push yourself to the edge, back off. And I think that edge will keep getting higher and higher and higher. I truly believe that. But never play too far into the pain. Go to the edge of pain and back off, edge of pain and back off. And I believe that edge will keep getting longer and longer and longer. What I'm trying to say is that your stamina will improve and you won't do any damage. Very important to whatever your physical limitations are, to really pay attention to them and push gently against them. And that way, I think you'll develop strength and stamina, but you won't harm yourself and you won't go backwards. One more reminder, there's a link below for the 14-day free trial in the Masterclass. We have a special offer for this video, and you can check it out and just opt out if it's not right. Well, that's something I really believe in. I want people to know exactly what it is before they decide if they want it or not. It's worked really great for us, and so click the link below. It's right below in the description. Makes it float a little bit. Here we go. Thank you all so much. See you in about 4 weeks for another live stream, if not sooner.